Good morning, children. This is revision of chapter 2 and this is revision number 3. So we had discussed about the reproduction and its type, and after that we had discussed in the last lecture about natural vegetative propagation, and then we had discussed about the advantages of vegetative reproduction. So in advantages of reproduction we had studied about that why the farmers prefer to grow certain crops by vegetative method. This is also a question. Why farmer prefer to grow certain crop by vegetative method? Because reproduction by vegetative parts take place in a shorter time. New plant that is produced spread very fast in a small area. It is surer method of propagation. So again I am explaining those things because in vegetative reproduction we are using the same plant, the part of same plant, and those parts they take shorter time for the growth. So the plant is able to grow in a shorter period of time. Secondly, the plant is able to spread, as you can see in the picture, the plant is able to spread very fast in a small area. It doesn't require a large area, so that the vegetative reproduction is very important. Third is, it is a surer method of propagation. Means if we are growing a plant by a vegetative method, we are able to grow it very fast and we will get the positive result when we are going to grow a plant by vegetative method. The fourth thing is, all the good character of mother plant are retained by the daughter plant. If the mother plant is of good condition, the surer the baby plant will also be of the same type. So it will be of same type. So all the character of mother will be same as that of daughter. Now, what some disadvantages of vegetative reproduction? Because as we are saying, the mother plant, the character of the mother plant will be retained by the daughter plant. But as the mother plant will get the disease, same type of disease can be get by daughter plant. So all the plant developed by vegetative reproduction are genetically identical. They are likely to be affected simultaneously if a disease spread in a farm. So if a same type of disease is spreading, definitely it is going to affect the complete crop. So that is why the farmer, they don't prefer the vegetative propagation. Because this is a disadvantages, but they have the solution, so that why the farmers they prefer. Second is, dispersal of plant does not take place, as the plant is growing in a short time in a short area. So the dispersals of seed of that plant, it will not go from one place to another. It will be remain in the nearby restricted particular area. So because of that, there will be a competition among the plants. So because of that competition, maybe many of the small plants, they will not be able to grow properly. So these are the disadvantages of vegetative reproduction. Now today we are going to start with the artificial vegetative propagation. As we had discussed in the previous class also, when we had discussed the chapter, that artificial vegetative propagation, it is done by cutting, layering and grafting. So cutting, as I have explained you children, that in cutting it is mainly done in sugarcane, rose. So this type of plant, because this is a picture of sugarcane. Sugarcane contains small bud-like structure in each node. This is the internode and this is a node. So it contains a bud-like structure. So that bud-like structure is responsible for its growth. So what we do, we just cut these parts into equal halves. In sugarcane also, the partitions are there. So according to the partition, we are able to cut the plant into different parts. So when we are cutting them, we are able to saw that each part into the soil. Each part is able to make a new plant. So because we are cutting in that, a stem is cut into pieces bearing the buds, and these buds are called auxiliary buds, and then they are planted in the soil. So this type of process is called cutting. Second is layering. So in layering also, it is done in mint, rose, jasmine. What we do, as the plant is growing, when the plant is growing, we just take the upper part of the plant and we put that part into the soil. That part is able to develop a new plant. Again it will grow, and again we put that part into the soil. So what is that? This is a layering. There are layers of the plant. So this type of vegetative propagation is called layering. Next is the grafting. Grafting is very important. I have seen in your dashboard also many of you were asking what is grafting. So in grafting we take two different type of plants. Okay, this is different plant, this is a different plant. Any different plant we can take which is having the stem. Now what we are going to do, this stem, we cut that stem into two parts only on the upper side. We just make a cut over here, and in the another branch we just make it sharp from this side. Now what we are going to do, that sharp part we put inside the space that we have already made inside the another stem. So the part which we are making in the stem, that is called stalk, and the part which we are going to put inside that portion, that is called cycle. So grafting is a process. How we will explain grafting? Grafting is a process in which we cut two different plants into two small pieces, and one plant we make a slit, we cut and make a slit. Second part we make one and sharp. So in the stem in which we make the slit, that is called stalk, and the stem in which we make it sharp, that is called cycle. So we just put them inside, and when just we tie them with a thread with a cloth for 10 to 12 days. They both attached together, and then they will form a single stem, and this stem will get the character of both the stems together. So because we have grafted something inside the stem of another plant, so that type of process is called grafting. The fourth type of process is micropropagation. Micropropagation is, we just call it tissue culture. So what is tissue culture? What we do in tissue culture, we take the vegetative propagation. If in a plant vegetative propagation is not possible, means the plant is not able to develop from stem, from leaves, from roots. So what we do, we just take shoot apex or any other suitable part, maybe the bud, maybe the leaf, suitable part. We have to search in the plant. We just take a suitable part of that plant, and that suitable part of a plant is called explant. Now this explant we treat with the chemicals. Why we treat with the chemical? Those chemicals are called sterilization chemical. Why we treat them with sterilization chemical? Just to prevent the effect of any microbe. As you know children, microbes, these are the small organisms which are harmful for the plant. So just to prevent the effect of microbial growth on that explant, we just treat the plant with sterilization chemical. So those sterilization chemicals, just like hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide, it is the example of this sterilization chemical. So after treating them with the chemical, we just culture them in a nutrient medium. Nutrient medium means a medium which contain all the nutrients required by the plant for a proper growth. So we just culture them in that proper nutrient medium. After some time, the cell will start growing and it will divide and it form a callus. Callus means, suppose you have taken a small part of the plant as X plant, and now it will grow and it will form a callus, a big structure. Callus, why we are calling it callus? Because at that time we are not able to identify which part is leaf, which part is stem, which part is root. We are not able to identify. So that is why it is called as X plant. Now after that, growth hormones are added. After that, inside that, growth hormones are added and the callus is able to differentiate into parts looking like a plant. When the growth hormones like auxin, cytokinin, these are added, at that time the callus is differentiate into parts, and that time, because it is the different parts are forming in the plant now, so at that time it is called plantlet. So how you will explain plantlet? Plantlet is a part in which, a part of a plant in which the plant is able to show the different parts like leaf, root, stem, etc. Now these plantlets, they are transferred to a soil. So that complete process is called micropropagation, or it is also called tissue culture. Now why the people do the process of tissue culture? Why? As I have told you, if the stem, root of the plant, leaf of the plant is not capable of growing, so any other good part of the plant can be used for that culture. No need of seed. Plants do not multiply by seed, cannot be propagated through plant tissue culture. If the plant is not having seed, those plants can easily be cultured by micropropagation. As well as large number of plants can be produced in a short period of time. Chemicals used in the tissue culture increase the capacity to produce plants to resist biochemical and environmental stress. As I have told you that we are going to use the sterilization chemical. So because of that, the plant is not able to get any harmful diseases because it is already treated with the chemical. So by this method, new improved variety of crops can be produced in a short period of time. So this is all about the micropropagation. It is already given in your book also, children. The same thing I have explained in my own words. So with diagram they have explained how they are going to form a X plant, and then it will change into a callus. That callus will change into a plantlet, and these plantlets, they are able to grow. Now as we have discussed about the advantages, so some limitations are also there, that every person, every farmer is not expertise that how much chemical he has to add for the plant. If it is his expertise, then the amount he must know, so that plant will not be destroyed. But if he doesn't know how much chemical he has to add, then definitely the micropropagation process cannot be a successful process. After that, it is not easily applicable in remote agricultural area, because the people living in the remote areas, they don't know which type of chemicals they are able to add in such type of plants. So it is not applicable for the remote area. So these two limitations are there. After that, children, we have the structure of flower. In structure of flower, I have taught you in the lecture very clearly. So first of all, you have to learn all the parts of this flower, and as well as you have to learn the function of each and every part. What is the function of stigma, what is the function of style, ovary, filament, anther. So every function you have to learn it clearly. And the name, what is the other name of carpel, what is the other name of stamen, what they are called. So all these things you have to learn. So if you are going to learn the structure of this flower completely, you are easily able to explain the structure of flower. Like colored part are called petals. Petals collectively, because in a flower many petals are there, so all the petals they are called corolla. sepals, they are the green part. All the sepals together, they are called as calyx. The female reproductive part is the gynoecium. Male reproductive part is the stamen. And in this type of flowers, where both the sex organs are present, female and male, that type of flower is called bisexual flower, or it is also called hermaphrodite flower. If in some of the plant only the male part is present, some of the plant only the female part is present, so at that time the flower is called unisexual flower. So children, just go through your previous lectures also and just prepare for your exam. Thank you children.